Who do you think got this list? Men or women?
Women.
Yeah.
Women.
I could take
Women.
accountability for that. I had a
Women.
I
long
would
Yeah,
list.
never.
we-
I don't think I say I had a list. She could vouch for that. I've never really had a list because
Yeah.
I've dated. I've had preferences, but everybody gets a chance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I connect with you and we vibed and
Equal opportunity dating.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like-
and that's good. That's
you know
good.
what I'm saying? Like, so, and I know for me with certain things may work, what may not work for me as I get to know you though.
Right.
But I'm not gonna just shun you away because it didn't work at that moment. I mean, because I didn't like you at that moment because you didn't have what she said, the 6 feet, the dark skin, this, that,
right.
third, the financial. Nah, I've always dated outside of the average box. So when people see me with somebody, they be like, oh, you with him. Okay.
I don't shun. I'm not saying I
But now,
shun them.
like I connect with people differently. Like, I don't know, maybe it's based on my background and me being familiar. Like I've been nothing raised around men. And I know how men think and move and everything. That don't mean I treat the man I meet as such. Like, oh yeah, because you got that bitch or you fuck with that girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going in there with the intent of that.
Right.
Because that's not what I do. And I'm not gonna get nowhere doing that.
Mhm.
So I always
So-
feel a guy out.
Yeah. So Ace, how you feel about this? You think
As-
dating is easier as you get older or harder?
I would say for me personally, dating has gotten much harder out here because it's not a lot of quality out here. Like I'm trying to remember if it was quality back in the day. I don't know.
I wasn't looking for quality.
I was looking for
Like,
quality back in the day.
Like-
So I don't know,
Was you
but I
looking for
think
First of all, shout out to the ladies for being, this is the first time I've seen some, ladies give some good points on Daily Wrap Up Crew. It's usually they give all these delusional things, right? But I think that helps when women start to at least understand that you're never going to get the perfect guy. And I think as men, it also, happens to us men as well. Because at some point as a man, you're not going to get the Instagram body. You're not going to get the, the IG model. You're not going to get the 10. So as a man, at least for men, sometimes reality slaps us in the face. So we can't have a big list because otherwise we're going to box ourselves out of the majority of options. Not even majority, but few options. Most men have very few options, right? But I think for men, dating gets harder as we get older because we get to realize that women actually care about the money. When we were in high school, we thought women only care about the swag, and just having a good time. But as we get older, we realize women actually care about our money. So we got to work really harder. So we have to jump out of the fantasy and the Disney fairy tale of thinking that, you know what, you're actually going to get a woman to love you for you. No, she's going to love you if you're providing something.
yeah, now that I'm looking for a quality woman, it's definitely hard because most women out here, they not looking to settle down. They out here. You got articles coming out about women not being trustworthy, they cheating in their relationships. So you really gotta
Chase
sit
their
down
careers,
and
You
and
sound
vet
like
these
you even
women, bro.
saying that.
Somebody's telling lies.
That is
because
not sassy.
women, we're complaining.
I know.
Listen,
How are
Yeah.
you saying you can't find quality women, and we're saying we can't find quality men? Like, what's going
that-
on?
Men
Well,
have it hard,
The
though.
disconnect
Men
is
have it
because
hard.
women's standards are way higher than it should be sometimes.
Mhm.
Let me clear it up. When I said I had that list, didn't mean like I didn't entertain, like have a conversation with someone that wasn't on that list. But it all boils down to like who would get first conversation.
But that's the thing. If you have a list of 10, 15 things you want from a man, if a man has 8, you're going to leave him out. So what happens? Once he finds out you rejected him because he's 5'10" instead of being 6'5" like you want, that man loses confidence. He doesn't get more confident after you reject him. So either, right, he stops, approaching women for dating because they're like, okay, they want really tall guys and I'm not that tall to them. I'm short even if I'm 5'10". Or if he doesn't stop dating, he doesn't take women seriously because like they don't know what they want. They have all these crazy delusional standards.
There's women that's saying I will not talk to you unless you send money to my Cash App.
No,
Yes.
that's
That shit is real.
crazy.
Okay,
That's
that's crazy.
But let me
That's
tell you
true.
something.
That's crazy.
I actually respect sometimes how certain men move with females because for like 2 years, I had my brother's Instagram and he used to just tell me, just watch my DMs. And the way women would carry themselves, I honestly respect how men would move with them because it was disgusting the shit I used to see.
Mm.
I'm talking about the girl knew he knew her man and she would still link him. Like, this was his man, like, I called you a friend or whatever, but where was your boundaries as a female?
Right.
So don't get mad when he start treating you a certain way, sweetheart, because you
Right,
moved a
because-
certain way.
because that's what you qualify for.
Yeah.
Understand, there are certain things that people qualify for, and they get the treatment based on that. If you're in somebody's DMs saying that you got to cash at me first before we could talk,
That's a wrong
it's
message.
have the expectations that they're gonna treat you based on what you qualify
I
for.
think so.
Facts. Oh, she's speeding. She's cooking. Also, if everyone knew what they qualify for, because for example, I don't expect to date the same women like the ballers and athletes date. That would be delusional. But for some reason, average women think they deserve athletes and billionaires and millionaires.
Period.
Yeah, I think y'all made some great points. And I kind of agree with Ace as far as I think dating has become more difficult as you get older, because when you're younger, you have the time to entertain multiple women or multiple people in your example to find out who's the best compatible partner, right?
Right.
When you get older, you don't have as much time
Mhm.
to entertain multiple people. So now you gotta
Your
fixate
mental
it on
capacity don't even work.
yeah, one or two people, and then you don't get to build. It almost feels like you don't get to build that relation,
Bond.
that bond with them, because
Mhm.
everything is so expedited nowadays. Because
Yeah.
we're older,
Yes.
you know, the women are our age, they're older, they're trying to hurry up and have this child because they don't
Mhm.
want to get to the point where they possibly can't have as many children.
Mhm.
So now it just feels like everybody trying to expedite the relationship, and then nobody, it just feels forced. You know what I mean? So
Right.
even what you said, I respect the boundaries that you had, but sometimes it can come off a little bit strong if you meet a woman and she's like, well, these are my lists. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've seen some dating profiles where you just go on the shit and there, well,
Mhm.
if you got to have this, my children come first. Just know that my children come first. You will never be first. And like, it's a
Yeah.
whole
That's
bunch of
great
shit. And it's
shit.
like,
Yeah.
God
The bios
damn.
be
Like, you know what I'm
crazy.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
yo, can we even vibe?
Them Instagram bios be a little bit too
Yeah,
much.
I'm like, yo, can we just vibe and fill each other out first without feeling like I have to automatically be your boyfriend from the
Mhm.
beginning? Like, I've just met you. Like, is either you're my boyfriend or that's it, because I'm not wasting my time. You know, some men are like
Yeah.
that as well. So I think it is a little
Not
bit.
to mention, dating is fucking expensive these days, man. Like,
Yeah.
like you can't go on no simple
heard.
dates no more. If you take a woman on a simple date, she's like, oh yeah, you ain't got
What
no
is
money.
simple though?
Like, for me personally,
Walk
I'd
in the
rather just
park.
go get a drink with somebody just to fill you out to see if we could even go on another date. You know what I
Right.
Well,
mean?
you would do that. Some men are cheap and they do that just because.
Yeah,
they
but
don't wanna
somebody might-
spend.
But that's the thing. The fact that you call a man taking you out for a drink cheap is the issue. Why does it gotta be cheap when you're both trying to get to know each other? So you want a man to invest all this money, and then at the end of the day, you don't even like him. So you start eating your meal, your dinner, your expensive food, and then you find out you don't like him. So now you're stuck there with a plate full of food. Do you see what I mean? She's already calling the date cheap. She's calling men cheap on a first date just to get to know each other.
Consider me cheap because I want to do that. On
But how
first
we
date.
know
I
that?
don't- I
How
don't
we
think
know that
that-
he's being cheap?
Exactly.
I don't want to get a drink.
Listen, I'd rather go to I usually for the first like kind of meetup or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm like, let's meet at Starbucks or something like that, or let's meet at a park, like something
Right.
simple, because I need to know if I'm actually feeling you enough
Exactly.
to go forward. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Exactly.
So I definitely understand. We're in a recession. Dates are very expensive, and certain dates you really don't get to know a person. If we go to the movies, I'm not gonna get to know you.
Right.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
That's a
We
fact.
need to be doing something active that's
Mhm.
gonna really show me how your mind works, how you think. You'll get to see how I think. It really will show you if you're really into this person based on doing certain things. And so sometimes sitting down and having dinner is just not it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Exactly.
But then they want to ask you out to go to the club. I had a guy ask me out to go
I
to the
got
club
asked
for,
you
I
that?
ain't never
for
did.
the
That's
first day.
weird.
Yeah.
Must be a promoter.
I met you at the club.
Right.
I don't have
He
like,
sent me a whole. I'm like, he,
You
you know,
ain't
he
never
asked
lied.
me
That
out and
must
then
be
he
a
sent
promoter.
me the
Some
thing, and
promoters,
it's the
they
club.
will do that.
Yeah.
And
Was
they
it- was it
save
like
money
a-
and make
Mm-mm.
money
Was
at
it
the
like
same
a-
time.
It's a nightclub.
was it like, oh, okay, never
It's
mind.
a
I thought it was
nightclub.
like a lounge, something.
It was
like
not a lounge, it was a
drinks,
club.
like that.
Yeah, some of those guys just want to go show off and like buy bottles, buy sections just to show off, or maybe get drunk with a girl, things like that. But a shout out to Daily Wrap Up Crew. This was a good conversation, man. The dating scene right now as we get older is crazy. Women's standards are way too high. Men are giving up on dating because they call you cheap if you just want to go have a drink, just to get to know you. But it's like, if we don't like each other, if you feel the energy, you can easily leave. It's just a drink. It's not a whole full course meal and we have to stay stuck in front of each other if the energy isn't there. But if we vibe, we can always move on to the next time or to the next activity.